So you want to visit San Miguel de Allende. Allende? Whatever. Maybe it's for the history. Maybe it's for the expat community. But what else is there to do? That was the question I asked when coming up here, and man was I surprised at what I found. And with all what San Miguel had to offer, there were some things I was not excited about. Number one, there's no room to walk. San Miguel was the first settlement in Guanajuato. It was actually founded in 1542 by a Franciscan monk named Juan de San Miguel. And it wasn't until 1826 when one of his heirs, who was a hero of the revolution against Spain, that the town was named San Miguel de Allende after that heir whose name was Ignacio Allende. And I mention the history here because the streets are very historic. And although there are cars, all the streets are one-ways due to the size. The town obviously didn't expand its streets very much throughout the years. And with the small streets also come the small sidewalks. Seeing someone walking towards you is almost like a game of chicken to see who would walk on the road first. And if you're walking on the sidewalk with your partner, you're pretty much shoulder to shoulder the entire time. Number two, like I said in the beginning, there is a giant expat community here, but it is of the older demographic. There are more retirees here than anywhere else in Mexico, and it's constantly growing. So if you're 27 like me, you might have to search for a younger crowd, or I'd recommend visiting Guanajuato, as it is more of a university town, so it will be easier to find more people there to hang out with if you're in your 20s. Number three, prices are not cheap. With the town catering to more and more expats constantly moving in, there are also as equally more high-end restaurants that you'll be paying those high-end prices for. A typical meal here is about $15 to $20. However, when I checked out a lot of other places, you could easily spend $25, $30, or even $50 per person. And for Mexico, that's not really budget friendly. Number four, if you are a beach person or an outdoorsy person, this really isn't the place for you. While there are obviously things you can do outside here, you won't find giant waterfalls or a lot of big mountains to hike. And in fact, a lot of the outdoor areas like the parks here are quarantined off right now, so you can't get in. And the buildings are also very cramped together. So with the one-way traffic, there's not a lot of free flow to this town. Again, I would not recommend driving a car here in this city. At the most, I would recommend getting a moped. Okay, now it's time to stop being a negative Nancy and start talking about the things that I do like about San Miguel. Number one, the architecture is absolutely stunning. These are some of the most beautiful buildings I've seen throughout my travels here in Mexico. Church siding is definitely a big thing here, with people lined up taking endless selfies. And from Gothic cathedrals to cobblestone streets lined with colorful buildings, San Miguel is absolutely gorgeous to the naked eye. Even though there aren't a lot of outdoor activities, there are some. El Charco is a massive botanical garden home to thousands of cacti. With its canyon as its main attraction, the mysticism behind the pools below is an interesting history. So here's one of the main attractions of this conservation area called El Chan. Now El Chan is a mythic god of the underworld that's said to live in this pool. These waters have been claimed by indigenous people as very mysterious, and they said El Chan likes to show his power by taking the lives of those who dare come close to it. And while the legend behind it is a little bit mysterious, this is also one of the last remaining natural springs of San Miguel de Allende. There's also the Escondido Hot Springs, which is a semi-arid eco-park surrounded by a vast desert landscape. With all of its pools to swim in and gardens to sunbathe in, many people come here for its purifying waters, either as a ritual or just to relax the mind, body, and soul. That was the most blissful water massage I've ever had. I just feel so calm right now. Number two, even though the expat community is of the older demographic, it's definitely the largest one you'll find in Mexico, with over 20% of the population there being expats from North America, Canada, and Europe. So if you're not so good at Spanish, English is definitely more common here. 3, there are tons of food options, from Mexican to Italian to seafood. Pretty much all types of food are available here. And you'll even see more at night if you go out for the nightlife. And even though the prices may be a little bit high, there are no shortage of restaurants for this growing expat town. And my 4th pro of San Miguel is just walking around the town. Centro is the main area where you'll find everything you need. And it's small enough to where you can get lost on almost any street, taking in the amazing views. And there's no need to really worry about what time you decide to walk around, because 5, San Miguel is completely safe. There's a reason why retirees are choosing this town above anywhere else in Mexico. It's smaller than the tourist cities, which makes it more secluded, more quiet, and a more peaceful town to live in. Well guys, that about wraps it up. If you plan on visiting San Miguel or you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like and drop a comment down below, and let's go beyond life in the next one.